rise with, I don't know if I've ever actually said this in the Senate floor, I rise with a heavy heart because of the death earlier today of longtime friend Rich Trumka, who was longtime president of the national AFL-CIO. And I call him a friend because my wife Connie and I, who is in the gallery with our grandson Clayton, my wife Connie and I had walked picket lines with Rich Trumka, done rallies with Rich Trumka, spoken on behalf of workers with Rich Trumka. He was a son of our part of the country, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, coal miner, not just the son of a coal miner. I believe he told me once the grandson of a coal miner, but he was a coal miner early in life. He embodied the soul of the labor movement. He understood workers. He was for them and of them in ways that are unusual in America in the 21st century. He understood and lived and fought for the dignity of work, the idea that hard work should pay off for everyone. He understood what a woman from southern West Virginia said to me some weeks ago at a dignity of work hearing in the Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee that I chair. She said the words working and poor should not be in the same sentence. Think about that. The words working and poor should not be in the same sentence. Rich Trumka understood the dignity of work was if you work hard, and whether you punch a clock or swipe a badge, or work for a salary, or work for tips, or take care of children or grandchildren, or children or grandparents, that hard work should be rewarded, that no one that works hard should not have a decent standard of living. Few in this country have done more for workers than Rich. Giving workers a voice has been his life's work from his days in the mines when he was an outspoken advocate for trade unionism. He understood it was that carrying a union card was about empowering workers. If you join a union, you make better wages, you get better benefits, you get health insurance, you have more power over your schedule. You have a safety net often when tragedy strikes. Rich understood that. He understood that unions help build careers and provide for families. Our hearts are with Barbara, his wife, and their son, with all the workers around the country. And I can't even imagine how many workers Rich Trumka touched. I looked at the impact of just the work he did with me, let alone with so many in this body, the work he did fighting for pensions, and with his support leading the charge, really, a million families in the United States, more than 1 million families, had their pensions restored back in March when we passed the American Rescue Plan. And he understood the importance of the child tax credit. He understood the importance of the Affordable Care Act. He understood the importance of the Protecting the Right to Organize, which 47 Senate Democrats are co-sponsors of. He knew that he was even yesterday on a call with workers in Alabama, helping to encourage them to organize. He knew that his job as a labor leader was to represent the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of members and their families, but to always try to recruit new people to join the labor movement. And he knew that it was an uphill fight because of the way that the system is rigged towards corporations and towards employers. He would say, if he were here, he would say how important it is to carry on with or without him, carry on his life's work by standing in solidarity with all the men and women of the labor movement who built the strongest middle class the world has ever seen. We see that middle class shrinking day by day, slowly shrinking. And the reason is because we see the number of union members shrinking. And he knew the way to turn that around was Protecting the Right to Organize Act. He knew the way to turn that around was to get more people organized, more people, give them the option. Half of America would like to join a union, surveys say, at least half, if they had the opportunity. Most don't because of the outdated, rigged against them labor laws in this country. But Rich understood that. He understood people staying in the middle class. The union card helped people joining the middle class, expanding the middle class. And I also, one other point, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, I thought of what Rich Trumka did. One of the things I've worked most of my career on is a better fair trade policy. I voted against every single trade agreement that came in front of me until 2 years ago. And that's because Rich Trumka played a major role in changing NAFTA, changing the United States, USMCA, United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, and put in language that Senator Wyden and I worked on that will put workers at the center. And Mr. President, the way that Rich Trumka understood government is if you put workers at the center of our policy, workers at the center of our trade policy, workers at the center of our tax policy, workers at the center of everything we do here, call it the dignity of work, call it putting workers at the center. If you do that, everything right will flow from there. We'll have a more just society, we'll have a more prosperous society, we'll have more opportunity for our children. That's what Rich Trumka was, that's what he stood for, that's what he was all about. That's the fight, Mr. President, that we need to carry on his behalf and in his memory. Thank you. I yield the floor.